The latest from the Mideast. U.S. Central Command has deployed a fighter squadron to the United Arab Emirates. The Pentagon has approved an additional 1,000 troops to the Mideast. All of this after America blamed Iran for attacking those oil tankers. Walid Phares, come on in, Fox News national security analyst. You know, Walid, this sure has the makings, or it looks like has the makings, of a military confrontation. What do you think?
It is an escalation, Stuart, definitely, but the way it looks like now is that the United States administration is developing a containment plan just to deter the Iranian regime for pursuing this policy of aggression against the tankers in the Gulf and the Indian Ocean, sending drones from Yemen, from their allies, the Houthis, into Saudi Arabia, and of course what the militias are trying to do in Iraq. So what the Trump administration is trying to do is to tell them, these are the red lines. If you cross them, then you will see something much bigger than actually sending, 1,000 troops or some deployment of some squadrons.
So wait a second. We've got this standoff. They've attacked tankers. Are we saying, you do that one more time and then you'll really get it? Or what?
I think so. I think because had they done those actions and, we would have responded maybe, because you and I, we don't know. We don't have the readiness across the region because Iran is not going to respond point to point in one area. They have those huge deployments of militias in Iraq and in Syria, and we have troops there, which tells me that we are sending reinforcements to those forces. So when we are ready, remember when Saddam invaded Kuwait, it was in August of 1990. When we responded as international community, it was in January of 1991.
Okay, we have 20,000 troops there already, I think, and another 1,000 on the way. That's right? That's the number?
In the region, we do have a lot of troops. I'm not sure if it's 20,000 more or less, but the deployment that we have right now in the region is able by itself to deter the Iranians. Now, if there are more than that at play, then of course the Pentagon will make those suggestions to the White House.
Got it. I want you to look at this tweet from Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. Quote, none of this would be happening if Trump didn't back out of the Iran nuclear deal. America's response should be to return to the table and reinstate the Iran nuclear deal. Increasing tensions and threats of war serve nobody's interests. Walid, your response, please.
It's simple. That's the Obama administration policy, but that has been reversed as of 2016 by an election. But in fact, since the withdrawal from the Iran nuclear deal, we are moving in a different direction. Between 2009, when President Obama sent a letter to the leadership of Iran, till 2016, we tried everything, 8 years, basically, and nothing happened because the Iranians kept their weapons, bought ballistic missiles, expanded their militias. The Iran deal did not stop them, so it's not working. And I disagree with the idea that we need to go back to what was not working.
I think President Trump is unwilling to fire first against Iran. Is that accurate?
I do believe that he is not willing to drag himself into an Iranian trap. Besides, he has a very strong opposition here, and you just mentioned one of them. I think he is trying to put Iran's regime in a corner and have the Iranians react first strongly against us or our allies. Then he will have a legitimate position, and he will be backed by a majority of Americans.
I just don't... It doesn't seem like President Trump backs away from a hard line. He establishes the hard line and generally sticks to it. I can't think of any exceptions to that, really. Am I right?
You are right, actually. He is building, it's very smart what he and his administration are doing. He is actually building that encirclement of the Iranian regime. Many things we're not seeing, we will see, from time to time, sending those forces, including the B-52s, on the one hand. But there is something else been done in Syria. He is expanding the American and allied presence, trying to cut off the line between Iran and the Mediterranean. A lot of things that are being done right now to encircle the Iranian regime.
It's fascinating. Containment appears to be the policy.
Exactly.
Walid, thank you very much, sir. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Thank you.